prior to the Grand Prix at Austin, Alain Prost claimed that since winning the 2021 title, we've seen a new, more calm and collected Max Verstappen. A guy where the old Mad Max ways are gone, and we're now seeing a guy who is at one with himself and the car, and is since a stronger driver and on the quest for perfection. And considering how the 2023 season has gone so far for him, I think Prost has made a pretty good point. Until the Grand Prix at Austin, where, although he won his 50th Grand Prix, which is insane by the way, Max showed some quite interesting signs. Now, 2023 has been almost a clean sweep by Red Bull and Max, and it will be remembered positively and negatively by some, but I think the most standout thing from this year has been Max's performance on track this season. It's like this year, Max, he comes across like he was built in a lab somewhere with the sole purpose of winning races in the quickest and easiest manner possible. Apart from a very few minor errors here and there, his season has almost been flawless. And yeah, you can argue that this is down to the car, but when you consider how Perez has been doing this year, you know, credit where credit's due. I mean, look at it this way. If Red Bull had a Perez in both seats, this season would not be the open and shut case that it is now. And perhaps this is probably why Prost likes this version of Max so much, because he probably sees a lot of himself in him. Of course, one of Prost's famous quotes is, "I always say that my ideal is to get pole with the minimum effort and to win the race at the slowest speed possible." Straight from the Alain Prost playbook of 1993. And just like Prost in 93, this is exactly how we've seen Max this year, and due to the lack of competition from other drivers, he hasn't had to race balls to the wall like he has in other years. However, at the Austin Grand Prix, we saw a glimmer of the old side of Max, where he seemed a bit more flustered than normal, and he had to kind of put in a shift and bring his car from 6th to 1st. Now, this is a race that Max was not really used to having to do this year, and tempers were frayed a bit, and he had his qualifying lap time deleted, so yeah, it wasn't really a very good start for him. He was also complaining about the brakes on the team radio, describing them and or the car as a piece of S, which might be a bit strong considering what the likes of maybe Hulkenberg or Tsunoda have to put up with this year. His race engineer Lambiase also chose some quite inopportune moments to feed Max information, such as during braking and in corners, which is not normal, and it might suggest there might have been some sort of error with tracking or a delay even on the radio system. But either way, this stretched the patience even further. Now, Max eventually won the race, but had there been a few extra laps, you could argue that the closing Lewis Hamilton would have overtaken him and won the race, considering that Max was slowing there towards the end. But if Lewis had overtaken Max and won the race, he probably still would have been disqualified, and then it would have been an absolute conspiracy theory nightmare. But yeah, anyway, that's just a bit off topic. Now, it's Lambiase's job to feed Max information on track to try and improve his performance and pull out little improvements over track time here and there where he can. But like anyone who's stressed or under pressure at work, Max just didn't want to be bothered. Now, these two apparently have a great relationship, but you can tell that something was slightly off because of the bickering between the two on the team radio and the chat that was going on between the braking and the corners, which Max was complaining about. Now, some media outlets have criticised Max for doing this, but the thing is, if this was just Kimi Räikkönen, we would all be laughing and find it hilarious, and we would just be like, oh, that's just Kimi doing his thing. And in fact, he did that numerous times, and it was brilliant. But despite what happened in the race and what Prost said before, there is no denying that Max has really developed and grown as a driver. You can see it when you watch, races from previous years. There are sure signs that those personality traits they showed until 2022 are still there, but the fact that the RB19 is such a dominant package means that he hasn't had to use them, perhaps. Now, some may criticise his old Mad Max ways, but let's not forget, it's these ways that got him into F1 in the first place and was a huge factor in bringing him his success. Now, to be honest, I kind of expect 2024 to be a bit of a repeat. Business as usual. Max and Red Bull running away with the championships, done and dusted. And there'll be more articles saying how Max has evolved as a driver and how the angry kid is gone forever. And now we are seeing a new super mature and super calm Max. No Mad Max, just Can't Max. But let's just say 2024 goes off script and we see a serious challenge from Ferrari or Mercedes, or even both. In a situation like that, I think that Max would show these kind of aggressive and combative signs again. But the thing is, if he has this in his locker, and it won him success in the past, why not use it again anyway? As he's driven off into the distance for the past 2 seasons, the real test will come when he is being really challenged by another driver and he is seen as the favourite and not the underdog anymore. You know, a season where he really has to kind of suck up everything and really grind it out. But I still think he would succeed because he has these traits that he can call upon in ways that a lot of other drivers can't. Aside from perhaps Hamilton, I think guys like Leclerc or Sainz or Russell would have a bit of trouble matching Max if he decided to pull this out of the bag. It's almost like a side of his personality he can call upon if shiz is really going down, like having a Megazord or going Super Saiyan. Something else that is very interesting about Max right now is how he seems to be kind of unaffected by the kind of positive or even negative relationship from F1 fans. After being booed on the podium at Austin, he replied in the most fantastic way by saying, "In the end, I'm the one who takes home the trophy, so it's all fine by me." Now, the debate about booing is for another day, but it is going to be really interesting to see what happens if he wins the Mexican Grand Prix, because there are going to be lots of quite angry Perez fans there, I think. I mean, who knows? Behind closed doors, he might be affected by it, but on the face of it, it seems like as long as he gets to take home the first place trophy and his paycheck, he's happy. So has Mad Max disappeared? I think a calmer, more intelligent racer in the modern Max Verstappen is what we have now, but he definitely hasn't forgotten his old ways, and it's in his locker still if he needs it. And I really hope he needs it pretty quick, because I want 2024 to be a season that goes down to the wire in both championships. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how Max does for the rest of the season, especially as the other cars keep bringing updates and they've still got the second place in the Constructors' Championship to fight for. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel and we'll see you again soon.